evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to Live Talk. We are coming to you from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington. This Friday, August the 26th, 2022. I am Tungamili Nkomo. Tonight, we are talking about rising political violence and intimidation of opposition political party members as the country prepares for the 2023 general elections. The Citizens Coalition for Change says its rallies were disrupted by suspected ruling ZANU-PF members in areas including Uzumba and Gokwe yesterday, where party leader Nelson Chamisa's convoy was allegedly pursued by 21 ZANU-PF vehicles. Mr. Chamisa told the news conference in Harare this afternoon that the aggressors included local government minister Mr. July Moyo and several other ZANU-PF members, whom he said were armed with AK-47 rifles and machetes. While Mr. Chamisa managed to escape, some of his supporters and the news crew were not so lucky. Journalists Tongai Mwenje, Etoneo Rutsito, Pelagia Mpurwa, and Chelsea Mashaya Mombe were beaten up during the attack. One of them sustained a cut in the forehead, while another lost their teeth. Lichonanjani Zulugandava siyahlangana kuhlelo lwe-Live Talk. Lamhlanje sixoxa ngodaba lodlakela kundaba zombusazwe lona olukhanya soludlondlobala. Lokhu kwenzakala nje phambilini kokhetho luka 2023. Ibandla eliphikisayo ele-CCC lithi imihlangano yalo yokukhankasela lolu khetho endaweni zelizwe ezitshiyeneyo esifana leUzumba leGokwe iphanjaniswe ngabasekeli beZANU-PF. Leli bandla lithi eGokwe khona umkhokheli walo umnumzana Nelson Chamisa ugijinyiswe ngabasekeli beZANU-PF izolo ekade behamba ngezimota ezingama-21 njalo uthi bebehlome ngezikhali ezigoqela imibhobho yohlobo lwe-AK-47. Uchamisa uthi umphathintambo obona ngokwakhiwa kwezabelo umnumzana July Moyo laye ube yingxenye yeqembu leZANU-PF elimgijimisileyo limvimba ukwenza umhlangano eGokwe. Lanxa uChamisa ephephile ngokubaleka, abanye abasekeli bakhe babikwa bechayiwe, abagoqela intatheli izindaba uTongai Mwenje, Toneo Rutsito, Pelagia Mpurwa kanye lo Chelsea Mashaya Mombe. Sizaxoxa labe ZANU-PF kanye labe CCC. Kanti-ke sizakuba njalo lengcwethi kwezombusazwe esizahlaziya layo okwenzakalayo. Kwaziwayi vatereri ve-Studio 7 nasi muchirongwa che-Live Talk tiri kutarisa nyaya yemhirizhonga iyo yava kukwira zvakare munyika. Bato rinophikisa re-CCC rinoti mutungamiri waro vaNelson Chamisa vakatandaniswa nevatsigiri veZANU-PF svondo rino kunzvimbo dzinosanganisira kuUzumba neGokwe uko kwavakamhanyiswa nevavanoti vatsigiri veZANU-PF nezuro vakanga vachifamba nemotokari 21 chete 21. Vachamisa vaudza vatori venhau kuHarare nhasi kuti vanhu ava vakanga vakapakata zvombo zvinosanganisira ma-AK-47 uye vanoti gurukota rinoona nekuvakwa kwematunhu vaJuly Moyo vakanga varipowo pavanhu ava nezuro. Asi hatina kukwanisa kutaura navaJuly Moyo nezvenyaya iyi. Kunyange hazvo vaChamisa vakapona pamhirizhonga yanezuro iyi, vamwe vatsigiri vavo vanonzi vakarohwa vakakuvara zvakaipisisa, pamwe chete nevatori venhau vanoti tongai mwenje, toneo rutsito, Pelagia Mpurwa, pamwe chete naChelsea Mashaya Mombe. Rutsito anonzi akarohwa akabuda mazino. And we begin our show tonight with opposition CCC leader Nelson Chamisa, who called a press conference today to denounce attacks on opposition members and journalists by suspected ZANU-PF supporters. Mr. Chamisa counseled his party members to resist the temptation of retaliating when attacked.
What is clear is that the subject of the matter is human rights. You go to the villages, people do not have access to basic services on account of a party that they are alleged to belong to. I also got the information that issuance of party identity cards is being done by party leadership, ZANU-PF party leadership in the various areas. Why is this being done? Because they want to do regimented voting, command voting. That has become a big issue. And this is why Mr. Mohadi has been going around the country addressing crow heads and village heads. In Kabuna alone, we have about 1,908 villages. The whole country over 35,000. And Mr. Mohadi has been addressing all of them. He's not addressing them to encourage them, to empower them. He's addressing them to intimidate them and to threaten them that they should not allow CCC activities or the citizen movement to do things. They've localized violence, they've localized things, and to make sure that they also stop it. I was being told just this morning that, like I said, in Mtoko, they were saying, oh, Chamisa will not come in here, will not allow him. I want to say this to ZANU-PF. I will go anywhere and everywhere. You will not stop. You are not the owners of this land. Zimbabwe belongs to Zimbabwe. A lot of people have been saying, but Mr. Chamisa, we can't be beaten, with our hands tied behind our back. I say, peace is fragile. Peace comes at a cost. Our high road is a high road to democracy. Mr. Tsvangirai would always say, I will never walk on dead bodies to State House. I would repeat the same statement. Because I know that our road and journey to State House is assured. So why would we lose a single life on account of politics? That will not happen. Let me also comment just on the issue of the economy and corruption. We note with concern that the economy continues to fail many Zimbabweans, but this is due to spectacular mismanagement and endemic corruption. If you look at what I've stated before, the economy is failing on account of bad leadership and bad governance. Look at how Zimbabweans are being treated in the neighboring countries. Like people without identity, without a heritage, without a nation and land. But each year the country is losing 3 billion, both to illicit flows and plunder of money through corruption that is taking place in state-owned institutions, by the admission of the state organs themselves. Ironically, in gold alone, the country has lost about 100 million every time.
Opposition CCC leader Nelson Chamisa speaking during a press conference this afternoon in Harare. And now to discuss this issue, we are joined by CCC chairman in North America, that's Mr. Tawanda Zokora. Mr. Zokora, good evening and welcome to Live Talk. Mr. Zokora, good evening and welcome.
Makadi, mkoma mtumi makadi murie Zimbabwe yakateerera.
Tinofara vadzokora kana muchifara wo. And let's dive straight into it. Besides calling press conferences, to call ZANU-PF to order. What else is your party doing, Mr. Zokora, about the issue of violence? Because it appears more of it may be coming as we head towards the 2023 elections.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we have to talk the way we are talking right now, that what can a party like CCC do about violence? A party that is not in government, a party that doesn't have an army, a party that doesn't have a police force, a party that is not in control of the courts. There is little that we can do about that. You know, besides educating our people, besides telling our people to be vigilant, really it is the onus of any government, it's the responsibility of any government, any police force, any army to ensure that there is no violence in the country. But we are seeing a proliferation of violence everywhere where President Chamisa will be addressing. When President Chamisa is not there, there is no violence. So ZANU-PF cannot say this is just happening, you know, out of the normal. This is planned, premeditated violence. He was in Mutoko and people were beaten up. He was in Weza, where I come from myself. I know exactly what was happening there. The violence was instigated and organized by the Member of Parliament for Weza South, Mr. Tino Machakaire. He loaded two trucks that are written Tinmark, and everyone saw them, and they were driving around Weza, following where President Chamisa was going. And after that, there was violence, lots of violence. People were beaten up. One of the young men in Weza was abducted, beaten up, and later dumped somewhere. And we saw the same thing happening in Gokwe yesterday. That rally was given a go-ahead by the police. It was not an illegal gathering. So why did we have ZANU-PF youth coming in and then the police not stopping them? CCC is not an illegal organization. CCC is a legal organization that operates legally following the laws of the country. We have never broken any law. When we want to have a rally, we follow the law. We notify the police as is enshrined in the Constitution. But we are not getting the protection that we are supposed to be given. The citizens of Zimbabwe that would want to hear from President Chamisa are not getting the protection that they need from the police. So really, it's ZANU-PF, it's the police, it's the government that should be answering questions like you have asked me. What are they going to do to ensure that there is no violence as we go towards 2023? Nokuti vanhu iko zvino vari kutozviona kuti iyi hurumende iri kutadza kuchengetedza runyararo munyika. Saka ihurumende here inobvumirwa kudzoka, ihurumende here inobvumirwa kunzi ivhoterwe nevanhu, nekuti vari kutadza kuchengetedza runyararo. Vanhu vari kufa, vanhu vari kurohwa, vanhu vari kuabductwa, vanhu vari kupondwa. Paine inonzi hurumende, ndo hurumende here iyoyo.
Mr. Tawanda Zokora, vanhu vasachigaro ve-CCC muno North America. Please do stay on the line, Mr. Zokora. Ubaba Tawanda Zokora lapho liyamuzwa. Uyakhuluma uyalisola kakhulu ibandla elibusayo kanye lohulumende. Uthi uhulumende we-ZANU-PF kanye labebandla elibusayo ele-ZANU-PF phakathi kokuhlukuluza kakhulu amalunga e-CCC ngoba sokuyiwa kukhetho. Sizaba laye-ke owe-ZANU-PF laye kuhlelo khonapha uza buya ansho ukuthi uthini ngomlando abawetheswayo okugijimisa uChamisa eGogwe izolo okuchaya lentatheli izindaba ngoba sibonile kulimela intatheli izindaba ezine ezichaywe izolo ngabanakanelwa ukuthi ngabasekeli webandla leZANU-PF ngesikhathi begijimisa uChamisa eGogwe. And for perspective, let's turn to human rights lawyer Kennedy Masie, who is joining us from the great state of Texas. here in America. Mr. Masie, good evening and welcome to Live Talk.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Masie. What's your take on the obtaining political tensions and the violence that we have seen in the past few days, where Nelson Chamisa and his party supporters have been targeted allegedly by ZANU-PF thugs?
Yes, the situation is quite unfortunate, and it's a situation that we probably might not be surprised with, because, as you know, it's been very contentious, especially when it comes to the election season in Zimbabwe. And also, ZANU-PF has developed a culture of violence when it comes to, elections, especially if they are contested. And, over time, we've also seen that this issue of violence has not been dealt with decisively, even in the past elections. We had elections in the 2000s, we had the elections in 2008. And if you want to go back, you see that the victims of political violence and even abductions and murders during those elections were never got justice. So impunity has always reigned since time immemorial, since those days. And to see the resurgence of violence now in 2022, it's not something that is very much surprising, because those who are in the habit of committing those serious acts of political violence when it comes to elections feel that they do this without any repercussions, and probably they know that even if they continue doing that, nothing will actually, come their way in terms of justice.
Uko pane chingaitwawo here nemasangano akaita se-African Union ne-SADC here vamasiye, nekuti takaona triple C mazuva mashoma apfuura iri kuti yakanyorera ku-SADC ichigunun'una nemhirishonga yairi kuti iri kubva ku-ZANU-PF ahead of sarudzo idzi.
Zvinokwanisa kuti nemasangano aya zviripo, because tinoziva kuti muSADC pane mutemo wakadzika unotaura zvema-elections muSouthern Africa. And mutemo uyu unotaura zvekare kuti nyaya dzemhirishonga inyaya dzinofanirwa dzichiongororwa zvakasimbarara, especially nemapato anenge achitonga neanenge achipikisa, kuti vaone kuti ma-elections aitwe murunyararo. But izvi tinoona kuti masangano aya anogona anengone yatingati persuasive value, kuti yangati vanokwanisa kungotaura chete, because muSADC munomu inyaya yekuti hapana mapurisa anokwanisa kuzobvawo kuSADC achiongorora kuti zveshuwa zviri kuitwa izvi. But inyaya yekuti kana vachitaurirana vari kumameetings avo ikoko, inyaya yekuti vanokwanisa kupa pressure kuZimbabwe kuti iongorore mitemo yayo ichiona kuti mhirishonga isaitike, especially pama-elections.
Thank you there, Mr. Masie, and please do stay on the line. Ndidzokere kuna vadzokora tisati taunza vanova nhengo yeZANU-PF varegis Rumbira. Vadzokora pane vamwe vari kuti bato harigoni kungogara richingochema-chema kuti riri kushungurudzwa neZANU-PF, asi chamuri kuita sebato hapana. Zvii zvamuri kuita kuona kuti mhirizhonga iyi inopera, uyezve hapana mhirizhonga iri kuitika kuenda kumberi uko? Because taona vaChamisa nhasi vachitaurayo kuti pane vamwe vari kuti nhengo dzetriple C dzinofanirwa kudzorera kana dzichirohwa, asi vaChamisa vari kuti haiwa handizvo, bato renyu ibato rerunyararo, saka hapana munhu anofanirwa kudzosera kana kuretaliata kana achirohwa. Pane zvamuri kuitawo here kuona kuti mhirizhonga iyi iri kupera setriple C?
Isu hatisi vemhirizhonga, hatisi vehondo, hatisi vezvibhakera, tiri verunyararo. Kana tichienda kuvanhu vedu manzwa mukuru wedu achitaura President Chamisa, unotonyatsona kuti paita zvemukuru wenyika vanenge vachitaura zverunyararo, vanenge vachikurudzira vanhu kuti vasaurayana, vasatukana, vasarovana. Asi tikaenda kuZANU PF unonzwa vachiwenga vachitaura kuti Chamisa must be crushed. Munangagwa achiendawo nekoko vachiti rakashai, varovei, vamwe vachiita mavidhiyo vachiti Vachamisa ngavaurayiwe, Vachamisa ngavapondwe. Vanhu vose ivavo havana zvavanoitwa, havasungwe. Saka ndo zvinobva zvangoratidza kuti ZANU PF ibato revanhu vanoda zvehondo, vanoda zvekutyisidzira vanhu, zvekumbunyikidzira vanhu. Ndo pavari kuda kuti tisvike. Vari kuda kuti vana veZimbabwe vasvike pakuita hasha dzekuti varwisane navo. Zvinoisa hatikwanisi kurwa navo, hatina puti, hatina mazimara avainavo vanenge vachibira vanhu. Tinongoramba tichitaurira vanhu kuti ngatishandei murunyararo, ngatiitei zvatinokwanisa kuita. Zviri kuitwa neZANU PF izvi, vana veZimbabwe vari kuzviona. Ndo zvinoita kuti vanhu vaende kunonyoresa kuvhota, vabva vazoenda kunovhota, vobvisa hurumende inoda kushandisa masimba, inoda kuuraya vanhu, inoda kuponda vanhu, inoda kumbunyikidza vanhu. Saka tinongoramba tichikurudzira vanhu vedu kuti ngatiitei zvatinofanira kuita. Kunyoresa kuvhota hakudi hasha, hakudi chii. Kuenda kunovhota zvakare hakudi pfuti. Unongoenda unovhota, woisa X pana Vachamisa, wobva waziva kuti wavhotera runyararo, wavhotera munhu achaunza mabasa munyika, achaunza migwagwa yakanaka munyika, achaunza zvikoro zvakanaka munyika, achaunza dzidzo yemandorokwati munyika. Ndo zvandokwanisa kuudza mhuri yeZimbabwe kuti isu tiri vanhu verunyararo. ZANU PF ndeyehondo.
Aiwa, thank you so very much. Vatawanda Dzokora, umgcinisihlalo webandla le-CCC ngapha eNorth America. It was a pleasure having you on, Mr. Dzokora. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And now, time for a short break. Don't go away. We will be right back. Abasanda kusixhuma singumsakazo we-Studio 7 sisakaza singapha eWashington DC. For those that have just joined us, we are streaming live on our Facebook pages, VOA Shona, VOA Studio 7, as well as VOA Ndebele. We are also live on YouTube at VOA Zimbabwe. Now let's go to our third guest. That's Mr. Regis Charumbira, ZANU PF chairman in North America. Mr. Charumbira, good evening and welcome to Live Talk.
Thank you.
Yes, your party ZANU PF is being accused here by the CCC and Mr. Chamisa of unleashing an orgy of violence against the opposition as we prepare for 2023. We saw yesterday CCC members, including Mr. Chamisa, allegedly being attacked in Gokwe and some journalists as well. One lost some teeth and one sustained a deep cut in the forehead. How do you respond to such a kind of violence, Mr. Charumbira?
Yeah, thank you very much, Studio 7. Yes, I think we all know that, and we know and we believe that MDC or CCC is a violent party. Most of the violence that we encounter in our country are usually caused by or orchestrated by the opposition. We've never seen ZANU-PF going to a place to just beat people. But the MDC and the CCC, good.
Hello, Mr. Jarumbira.
Sorry, I was a little bit disturbed. Can I continue? Sorry?
Yes, go ahead. You are saying that ZANU-PF does not perpetrate violence, but yesterday journalists were beaten up as well, and they are telling us that they were attacked by ZANU-PF members, not CCC members.
Yes, did you hear what exactly happened? Why were the journalists beaten? So most of the time, we know for sure ZANU-PF is a ruling party. There is no way we are governed by our democracy as a country. There is no way ZANU-PF can go and just beat journalists. There is no way ZANU-PF can go and beat its citizens who are the opposition. The oppositions are governed by the government, which is led by ZANU-PF. So truly speaking, we know that the opposition, especially Chamisa, what they want is to paint the president and the party ZANU-PF as to be a party that doesn't respect human rights. This is why they've been pushing for regime change. But regime change is only by the ballot. ZANU-PF can only leave power after the ballot, but they can do all what they want. They can try by all means to have those narratives. But you know what, to be honest with you, our people in Zimbabwe, they know what they want. They know what they want to expect after an election, and they will not bow down to what the CCC is trying to do. The CCC knows that they failed to win the people. Now what they're trying to do is they're trying to do fake abductions, fake violence. We know, we already, even in Gokwe de Kambiani, there's a by-election. We have one of our members, a youth, and there is a picture going around on social media. A CCC member was tying our youth, hands in the back, and is whipping him with a big stick, and is going around on social media. We can't
say Gutinde fake because we have fellow journalists who witnessed it and they were not spared. Journalists.
What I'm saying is there's no way the police or anyone from ZANU-PF just go and beat journalists. It means maybe they were in harm's way. That's the reason why they were beat. I'm sure they were not the journalists, who were not the people who were just started to be beat. It means there were people who were being beat and the journalists ended up being in harm's way and they were partnered, they were on the crossfire.
Okay, let me bring in Vamasiye. Mr. Masiye, I'm sure you are listening to what Vacharumbira is saying. Pachidimbu Murikuti Chine Mashoko.
Yeah, as a Zimbabwean, I'm pretty much surprised. Ndukushamisika nemashoko avo because Vanda Singe Varimunu are very much detached from reality. Majournalist akatakwa. Majournalist pana bato rangakarerekera. Uyezve vanhu vaitoita basa ravo vachifungidzira kuti vari kukavhawo ma-elections zvifa kuchitwa panguva yacho inoi yema-elections.
And let's leave it there. Masiye, I'm sorry, time this was Famba. But thank you so very much to Regis Charumbira, chairperson with ZANU-PF in North America. Also, thanks to Tawanda Zokora, chairperson with CCC North America, as well as a human rights lawyer, Kennedy Masiye, who joined us from Texas, Neskai. Kwanele Zulukandaba. Good night, Zimbabwe.